So just visually speaking, you want your project to stand out, not the site itself. Love the elevations. You're really showing great texture, Connor. Never center your descriptions. Never, never, never. That is a big no. This is awesome. That smiley face looks like a serial killer. Left alignment is good though. Hey guys, it is your girl Nat here, and I have another portfolio review. And Connor is another architecture student. He has been a longtime follower of the channel and on Instagram as well. So Connor, thank you so much for sending me your portfolio and being willing to do this. Just a little disclaimer, I did not actually pre-review this portfolio, so all of these reactions are very authentic. I am going to open Notability now. Let's start. So first things first, the cover image I think is beautiful, very impressive. It's pretty clean, and I do like your font pairing. Seems like you have like a bold font and then you have another thinner font, which I think is great. I think the dates are okay. You probably don't need them, and you also have the date here. So I don't necessarily know if having two dates is completely necessary. Typically, I try to stray away from vertical oriented text just because if you have a physical book, you don't want people to physically move the portfolio around to see it. Now, if you just have your name, Connor, blah, 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 on the side of your portfolio in a vertical format, I think that's fine, but this is a lot of text here, so you might want to reconsider that orientation. When we are looking at a cover too, I don't know what the motivation was to not have this centered. It's probably because you do have this text here, but if you are removing it, you may want to consider recentering your cover image, which I do really like. I think it's a really nice render. Nice work. Looking at your contents, first things first, I don't think you need a page number. Second thing, I would move these over just because there is no leading line. You don't want your eyes to kind of fill in this space here. It makes it hard. Sometimes people get it wrong, so I would just move the text over just a little bit. Third year, second year, not necessarily needed. The dates are fine. Photos, photography, and drawing. You might just want to call that miscellaneous work. One thing I will be pointing out commonly in everyone's portfolio is I like consistency. If you have the first year and the date, I would continue that miscellaneous work. This last portion in your portfolio, you seem to break this just a little bit. Okay, so page numbers are at the top. I would actually recommend moving them down because you have your title on the top part of your portfolio. It's a lot of text and it's better to break it apart. Never center your descriptions. Never, never, never. That is a big no. Left align your title. So left align everything. Don't justify it either. When you justify your text, what I mean by justify, let's say you have lines of text here. Justify will make sure that it creates a perfect box. When you just leave it left orientation, it's gonna kind of look more jagged. The issue with justified text is you create rivers of moved text because it adds multiple spaces between words to make sure it reaches both ends of the text boundary. Don't justify it. Left alignment is good. Having the river on the right-hand edge is better. I would pick a different cover image. Render model photos, and I would also increase your line weights. My eyes immediately go to the tree dots here, so I would make these lighter. And you definitely want to increase your wall poche thickness and stuff. My eyes also go right to here, the river, same thing here. So just visually speaking, you want your project to stand out, not the site itself. I've made this mistakes multiple times, trust me. Even if you kind of blur or just lighten up the background here and here, wherever your project isn't, you don't want your eyes to go to that, because right now my eyes go to the river and go to the tree dot. I would adjust this drawing a little bit and probably pick a different cover image. So far, your layout's pretty good. Again, just move the page numbers down. I would reconsider your titles. I typically don't like centered titles, so if you're left aligning the project description and everything, I kind of think it's just better if it's here, or you could just use it as a caption. Your diagrams look like a screenshot, so I would recommend going into Adobe Photoshop and really sprucing them up. This is good, that's fine. The keys are great. One thing you might want to consider is just moving them down to align them with the edge of your diagram. Moving on, good sections. I like when sections are in one area. I don't know about the circular crop, maybe reconsider that as well. Honestly, just left align all of your titles. It'll be cleaner instead of a centered. This spread's also good. Nice model. You added lights too. Would have photoshopped some stuff out though. Like this background too. You might want to Photoshop it. This is good too. Really nice work, Connor. And the render. I would make this your cover. It's great. Love this woman. She seems like she's having a great time there. This is better. This is a better project introduction page looking at Urban Splotch. Don't know if I like the name Splotch, but it's your project. A lot of text here. Nobody's really gonna read it. Make sure you left align it though. Move the title over as well, left aligned. Move the text once again down to the bottom of the page. Now, if you are using the render as your cover image, I would like to see consistency. I like how this is a full bleed, and then you can have your project title and then the description underneath. You could use 2 columns too if you want. If this method is going to be how you introduce your projects, just make sure that it's consistent. This is your project intro template. Just duplicate this spread for every single project and just replace the image, replace the text, and it'll be really consistent, and people reading your portfolio understand when they moved on to the next project. So far so good. I really like these. These are nice. Nice drawings. Nice Photoshop work too. Good shadows. There's so much space between the text in here. I don't even care that there's like A and B here. I already know it's a section based on the drawing. Just looking at these sections though, I do recommend either just doing a white poche, because black's really heavy here. So do a white poche or a hatch. Okay, moving on. Love the elevations. You're really showing great texture, Connor. The blue can be toned down just a little bit, just because you always want to emphasize your building. Great detail. I'm not going to repeat myself over and over again, but I would just be cognizant of the title and the description. The caption itself should also be just like a little bit lighter. It means it's a smaller font. You could almost add a grid of details, just because it seems like you really fleshed it out, and that would be great to see. These are great. These are really nice. I like the style of it, really good. Once again, page numbers. I hate this dead space here, dead space. See, but just to emphasize my point, the bottom doesn't look like dead space, right? But the top does, just based on your placement of the title. So that's why it looks just a little bit off to me. It does seem, I do want to commend you though, it does seem like you do follow a very strict grid, even with your text, which I don't agree with the alignment right now, which can be easily fixed, but you do follow this grid, which I think is fantastic. It's hard to see the site. I would zoom in a little bit, crop it. Good site diagrams, I would actually make this just a little bit bigger. I'd rather see this bigger than this. It'd be cool to have your building rendered in here. I don't know what I'm looking at here. If I'm being honest, nice plans and great section perspective. This is awesome. That smiley face looks like a serial killer. Okay, this is a great section perspective. If you don't want your lines to interrupt though, you can just have that angle, and that'll signify where you cut your plans. But I like this coordination. Great spread, would not change it. Just the title and the page number. This is good. This is great. You can invert these though too if you want. Only if you want, just a light suggestion. Hybrid house. Now see, I can tell that this is a new project, but it doesn't follow project introduction page that we talked about. This is why having a consistent project introduction page really helps a viewer like myself to better understand when we left one project and went on to the next. This is fine. Good base drawings, good scale. Always good to have a scale in a portfolio. A lot of people forget that. House for a young couple, better title, think about it. The scale is also great to have, but it seems just a little oversized. And also sometimes you can draw like a scale like this. So maybe you want to consider drawing it like that instead of just white boxes. This is a cool section. You really do. Wow, my smiley faces are so creepy today. Hybrid house concept diagrams. Now this looks a little busy. This whole spread just looks a little busy. So what I would recommend doing is either making a grid with no text and have the things speak for themselves. These are great. I would love to see them blown up. So maybe you don't even need all this stuff. Just blow up these diagrams at the bottom. Concept diagram, I don't know if I like that. I think your drawings should speak for themselves. And you can always do a overall like massing diagram or showing like how you merge these two houses together. Plans and sections are always good to have. This seems like out of the blue though. You don't have this kind of style of bullet points for any of your projects. So just make sure your descriptions are consistent. You would want to show dash lines where this came from, like that. Fix that. Be cognizant of the grid and stick to it all the way through. Even if you have a full bleed concept render here, I think this is great. Nice work. Mirrored City, this font looks a little big. hate this dead space, fix the text, fix the text, fix the page numbers. Good plan as well, but I'm not sure if this is your project, these blob things or what. So I would just try to emphasize your project. Is it these buildings? You can use color. So even if your studio professor was like, I don't want to see any color on your final boards, you can go back and add some color. Good sections, they're a little heavy, but the scale has to be massive if these are trees. I'm a little confused by this project. I won't lie. I also didn't take time to read the description, but also understand that most people reviewing your portfolio, especially for a job application, if they get 50 applicants, they aren't going to spend time and read every single line of text. So this is why drawings are so important. It's a visual field that we're in. See, this is nice. I'd rather see this than that. If I'm being well, this is a cut through. I see what you did. I don't know. See, I think the language is a little confusing. I'm more drawn to this render though, on the right. Okay, so this is your etc. section. You do show nice work and concept ideation. I would just keep a consistent grid, even with the border of your images now. But I hate moments where this ends here and this photo ends here. I'd rather see 4 photos with the same aspect ratios and dimensions. If you're using reference images, don't show them. You know, don't even show them. Just show your sketches. You will want to go in and erase the background. Make sure that the line work is heavy enough and dense enough and black enough. That way I can see it. Photoshop out the background. There's a background eraser tool, tools like this, and you just click a color and go through and erase just that color. Perspective drawings are great. Like, this is beautiful. You really highlight your amazing sketching abilities. Photos, really nice work. Now this is a nice crop, a good grid, and you really let the photos speak for yourself. So I would just encourage you to let your sketches also speak for themselves. Thank you, and you have your email and your phone and your location. Location, I would delete, just because if I'm a firm hiring in Los Angeles and you're in Chicago, then I'm automatically going to be thinking about how much money my company is going to have to spend to relocate you, and you don't want anything to be used against you. Overall, Connor, really fantastic work. These are all just my personal suggestions, and I really think you did a fantastic portfolio. Really do have amazing graphic skills. Your ability to communicate your architectural expressions through those graphics is really strong. So I do want to thank you so much for sending me your portfolio. Just a quick disclaimer, I am not an admissions counselor, but I do love portfolios. Most of you guys know I had Karen Lewis at Ohio State as my personal instructor, and she sells this book. I'll link it down below. Highly recommend for any architecture student who's trying to compile a architecture portfolio, because trust me, she is the queen of graphic design and graphics in general with anything architecture. I do have one more portfolio review coming up, so I will be publishing that next week. Until next time, love you guys.